One of her older admirers offered her refuge in a house on the outskirts of town. She rarely left except when the wind carried to her ears the distant echoes of wedding ululations or the faint notes of a lively gathering. The man asked for nothing in return, only to live near her without conditions or demands. He longed for her presence, cherished her company, and took solace in her mere existence. She ruled over the house as she pleased, welcoming whomever she wished. His love for her was an unshakable mountain, immune to jealousy, untouched by possessiveness. Just being near Tabouhdout filled his soul. But there was one man she held in special regard, a colonel in the military. He visited her as rarely as the winter sun graces the sky, but when he did, their indulgences would stretch for weeks. Her home transformed into a sanctuary for wandering souls, a place where the poor from neighboring villages feasted, drank, and watched the dances of chakates until dawn. One drunken night, the colonel fell to his knees, kissing Tabouhdout's feet in a dazed worship. Overcome with admiration, he turned to her and said, "Tonight is yours, Tabouhdout, my love, my friend, my moonlit solace, my Atlas rose, my Khénifra bride. Ask me for anything, and it shall be yours, even if it were a hair from the devil's testicles." She downed her favorite red wine, rouge, gulping it in one go, placed her glass on the floor, and then laughed, whether in joy, embarrassment, or sorrow. Who could tell? She leaned in, planted a long kiss on his lips, inhaled a drag from his cigarette, then kissed him again, once on each cheek, and a lingering one on his forehead. Finally she whispered, her mesmerizing eyes glowing with mischief, "Rek adik ibzidn gif Khénifra." I want to piss on Khénifra. The colonel erupted in laughter, deep, bellowing, uncontrollable. He laughed until he retched, vomiting onto the Grand Zion rug beneath him. Tabouhdout rushed to his side, holding his head as he emptied his stomach of wine and whiskey. Then she turned to Botham, a local jester notorious for his crude humor, so named because 4 of his wives had divorced him, unable to endure his ceaseless kissing. "Awid aman, Botham, bring water, Botham." He obeyed instantly. She uncapped a bottle of mineral water and poured it over the colonel's head, then made him drink a glass of cold orange juice. Once he had composed himself and straightened his uniform, he stepped outside to breathe in the crisp Atlas night air. He relieved himself against the trunk of a fig tree, inhaled deeply, then muttered into his radio. Minutes later, the sky above Khénifra was torn apart by the roar of an approaching helicopter. Tabouhdout rushed outside, stunned. She had never seen a helicopter before, let alone one landing in front of her home in the dead of night. The colonel's men helped her aboard, though she trembled, unsure whether from drunkenness or fear. As the aircraft ascended, she began to sing, half in sobs, half in melody, like a woman mourning a love lost. The colonel drew her close, wiped her tears with tender fingers, then placed his hand on her breast and whispered, "Tonight, I will let you piss on Khénifra, Tabouhdout." He poured her more wine. She drank, glass after glass, until the alcohol smoothed the edges of her thoughts. And when the moment came, he unfastened her seatbelt, threw open the door of the helicopter, and shouted, "Khénifra is beneath you, piss on it, and if that's not enough, shit on it too." That night, over the sleeping city, the sky rained down wine and urine. That night, Tabouhdout bestowed upon the land of the Zion her final gift. That night, she locked the gates of Khénifra with a brass key, one she buried deep in the cemetery of the Jews.